The very first Volkswagen Golf GTI arrived in the UK in the late 70s. It had 108 brake horsepower and pretty much invented the hot hatch category in the process. And now, hey, here we are, 40 years later with this, the 8th generation model. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more powerful than the first one. Okay, things have changed quite a lot since the first one, including the introduction of multiple performance versions of the Golf. So you might be wondering if this standard GTI is as hot these days. I mean, if you think about it, the Golf R is the truly hot one. The GTI Club Sport is medium, so then this is what? Lemon and herb? Just not as hot as it used to be. Is that a fair analogy, or am I just a little bit obsessed with peri-peri based fast food chains? Hey, before we find out, make sure you subscribe to the Carbuyer YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you like this video, give us a like and click the bell icon so you get notifications every time a new video goes live.
The GTI looks fairly mild compared with many other hot hatchbacks too. There's the trademark red line in the grille, the honeycomb air intake and twin exhausts, but otherwise there's not much in the way of drama. Bonkers spoilers, skirts and diffusers are nowhere to be seen. This car is on the standard 18-inch wheels, and it shows how used to big alloy wheels we've become, that they almost look a bit small, especially when you see the car with the optional 19-inch alternatives. The car's overall look is likely to suit you if you're after a performance hatchback that's more restrained and understated than some of the competition. It's a very smart car, even if it doesn't look hugely different to the standard Golf in R-Line trim.
Obviously, much is familiar in here with the regular Golf. As soon as you sit in the driver's seat, the first thing you notice is these two 10-inch screens, which together make VW's Digital Cockpit Pro system. Now, the resolution on both of the screens are very nice. They're very sharp. You get Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay as standard. Now, Lord knows, I have banged on about touch-sensitive controls in VW Group cars quite a lot, and I'm trying really hard not to be annoying. So I'm just going to say this very briefly. Okay, number one, the touchy slideys aren't always as responsive as you want them to be. Number two, they are not easy to use while you're driving, and just the lack of dials and twiddly bits just give less of a sense of occasion in the interior. That's it. I've done it. I've said it. Oh, one thing I do like are these sporty seats. I think they look very nice with the integrated headrest. They're very comfortable. Adjustable height, you've got adjustable lumbar on this as well. Oh, and they're heated, which is lovely. And this wouldn't be a respectable Golf GTI review if I didn't mention the trademark tartan upholstery, which that, along with the little bits of flashy red and gloss black, really help lift the feel of the interior. Otherwise, it's just a bit like the outside. It's smart, but it's not a massive step up from the regular Golf. I mean, the Golf GTI interior always outshone rivals. I just don't think that's the case anymore.
The new Golf GTI has the same turbocharged 2-litre engine as the old one, with 242 brake horsepower as standard. That does mean it's down on power when compared with most of its rivals, including the Honda Civic Type R, Ford Focus ST, Hyundai i30N, Audi S3 and Renault Megane RS. Upgrading to the GTI Club Sport adds around £4,000 to the price and increases the power to 296 brake horsepower, which puts the car back into the middle of the hot hatchback pack. While the Golf R is another £2,000 on top of that, but comes with a chunky 316 brake horsepower output and four-wheel drive.
So the first question is, does this car feel slow? And the answer is no. 242 brake horsepower is 242 brake horsepower, regardless of what the other rivals are doing. This GTI will do 0 to 62 in just over 6 seconds. But not only is it super quick in a straight line, it will get you across country seriously fast. The engine pulls really nicely, and the changes to the suspension means that this new one feels a lot more agile than the old one. The steering feels nice and direct, and when you're changing direction, it feels really impressive. It's blooming good fun when you want it to be. Now this particular car comes with the optional adaptive dampers, or basically you can adjust the suspension at a touch of a button. Now that is the key to this car's appeal, because when you've got it in comfort mode, it feels really relaxing. It's actually a much better car to live with than a Civic Type R or an i30, and it's a much better motorway cruiser than both of those cars as well. Now when you've got it in sport mode, it makes that ride feel like it's got a bit of a harder edge to it, which does make it seem like it's more suited to the smoothest of smooth roads, but you've got an extra bit of weight to the steering, which is nice. The throttle's just that little bit sharper, but thankfully there is an individual mode, so you can pick your favourite bits between comfort and sport to make it suit you perfectly. Now the majority of GTI buyers are probably going to go for the DSG automatic gearbox, which is what we've got here, which is probably best suited to the car really. I mean, unless you're really into driving, then you might end up preferring the 6-speed manual, but let's be honest, most enthusiasts are probably going to go for the GTI Club Sport or the Golf R. And when you're bumbling around town or you're cruising around, the auto box is really nice and relaxed, but then when you put it into sport mode, the shift sharpens, and no matter how fast you go, it's quick enough to keep up. Oh, one thing I don't like are these very small plastic paddles, which are much bigger in the Golf R and much nicer to use, but it seems like they're suggesting that people that are going to drive the standard GTI aren't going to use them as much. And I definitely want to use them.
The GTI officially returns 38.2 miles per gallon with CO2 emissions of 168 grams per kilometre. While this doesn't make it appealing as a company car, the figures are pretty respectable and add to the GTI's appeal as a hot hatch that's not too expensive to run and easy to live with on a daily basis. And that's really what this car is all about. It's not the most powerful hot hatch on the market or the best to drive, but for many people, it will be an attractive compromise. One that mixes desirability and all-round usability with a turn of speed and good fun when you fancy it.
Now part of that usability is down to the fact that this is the same family hatchback as the regular Golf in terms of practicality. Loads of knee room, loads of headroom. I mean, gone are the days of the 3-door Golfs, so getting things in and out of the rear seats are easy enough. I would say there's one compromise when you're sat back here. And these sport seats are quite chunky. So if you're sat here and you want to look forward, they get in the way a little bit. Back here, 374 litres of boot space, which is very nice. The seats fold down 60-40 to reveal 1,237 litres. And you do have a through hatch to the boot for long things.
Right, time for some Golf GTI Dealmakers and Dealbreakers. The GTI may only have 242 brake horsepower, but it still feels quick, and it handles better than the previous model as well. The Golf GTI is an iconic name, and the car feels a bit more mature and sophisticated next to other hot hatchbacks. The GTI is a good all-rounder that's very easy to live with on a daily basis. Potential GTI buyers are specifically looking for a performance car, and there are hot hatchbacks that are more powerful and more focused than the GTI. Similarly, VW offers the same buyers more powerful versions of the Golf that are more involving and more exciting to drive. The interior lacks the style and quality that you might expect of a high-spec Volkswagen.
In some ways, the idea of having a standard Golf GTI seems like a bit of a strange proposition. It's less powerful than all of its rivals, and then you've got cars like the Civic Type R and the Focus ST that are a lot more fun to drive. But VW have acknowledged that by offering a more powerful, more focused GTI Club Sport. And for enthusiasts, that Club Sport is what this car should be. Oh, and then you have the Golf R. More powerful, more exciting, more of the time. And both of those cars are only going to be a few quid extra when you're paying on a monthly basis. So no, this isn't the hottest hot hatchback. But importantly, it is the most refined and the most comfortable. Look, don't get me wrong. This is a quick car and it is good fun to drive when you want it to be. But I think the biggest appeal of this is how well it blends in to day-to-day life. It's a very restrained hot hatchback compared to some of its rivals. It's not going to be spicy enough for some people, but some others, it'll be just right.
In the market for a quick family car? If so, why not watch our review of the Ford Focus ST or our Hot Hatchbacks playlist? Thanks for watching.